Hello guys, welcome to Solving Solutions, your number one channel where you get solutions to all your solving problems. It's nice having you in class again today. How have you been? We are going to look at something very interesting today. We are going to see how you can draw a survey plan, or maybe how you can design a survey plan. If you're coming to the channel for the first time, you can encourage us by subscribing to the channel. And if you're a returning viewer, thanks for always checking up on us. As a surveyor, or maybe someone saddled with that responsibility of maybe designing a survey plan, you can follow the steps on this video and you are good to go. The first thing you need is what? You need your coordinates. Let's say you've used a total station or a GPS or whatever equipment. Even if you use a theodolite and you've used your angle and your distance to maybe your angles and your distances to get your bearings, delta nothing, delta easting, to get your coordinates, partial coordinates, that's delta nothing and delta easting, to get your coordinates, you still are good to go. So because on the channel we have videos on how we use our angles and distances to get these coordinates. Those are preliminary videos, right? Good. So we have gotten the coordinates of 1, 2, 3, 4 points, and we repeated the last one just to form a closure, right? Good. And we have our P line here. The P line is a command which you are going to see in just a couple of minutes. So you have your data formatted this way. Let's say you brought it from Excel. If you brought it from Excel, there's a command you are going to use. Just say you copy the space in between. It's supposed to be a comma, right? The separator between your easting and your northern is supposed to be a comma. So if it is not a comma from wherever data source you brought it, the best thing you are going to do is to do what? To copy that space, whatever space that is in between, and then you just do what? You say Control H. Now under Control H, what Control H helps you to do is that it finds what you've copied and replace it with what you want it to replace it with. Are we together? Good. So the data has actually been formatted. So if you've actually copied it from Excel, or maybe you don't copy it from Excel and you just type it manually, you are good to go. Or if you're copying it from somewhere and then you have so many data, like maybe more than 20 or 30, you can't be doing it one after the other. So you just have to automate it, right? Good. So that's where this particular shortcut comes in. The shortcut is what? Control H. That means that Control H will help to find what you've copied and replace it with what you intend to replace it with. So if you have a space there, which is something like this, a typical example, you just come here, if whatever you have is not a space, you delete it and then you paste the space there, right? Good. And then you say what? Replace it with what? A comma, right? So you now replace it with what? A comma, and you click on what? Replace all. So when you do that, you will find out that your easting and your northern will no longer be separated by that space. To now be separated with what? A comma. So when you are done with that, then you have what? Your data in form of what? Easting, comma, northern, and you're good to go. This P line is optional because you can actually get that from AutoCAD. So when you formatted your data, you now come back to AutoCAD, which is where we are. Good. You come back to AutoCAD, which is where we are. Now the first thing is that you set your unit. Before ever you work on AutoCAD, you need to set your unit. So UN is the shortcut. If you don't want to use the shortcut UN, I think you can come to format, and then under format you can go to what? Unit. So you can use either of those two, right? Good. You come to format, go to unit, or you just type UN, enter, right? Good. Our length type is in what? Is in decimal. Are we together? Good. Our length type is in decimal. Our precision is to 3 decimal places. Then our angle type is in degree, minute, and seconds, not decimal degrees. And then the precision is also what? Degree, minute, and seconds. Then you check the clockwise, which is this. Then you come to insertion scale, you change it to what? You change it to meters. Are we together? Then you come under direction, you select what? True north. You say okay. So you say okay. You've actually what? You've actually set the parameters for you to use, right? Good. So you go to units and you set the parameters. Now let's go back to our data. Now this is the data. We have our easting and our northern. There are different methods of plotting. It is either you run a script, either you copy and paste, right? So we are not going to run a script. We are just going to what? Copy and paste. Now running a script is very good. It's very, very good. If we don't have it on the channel yet, just make a video on it. But I think we can just check it out and then update you on that. Running a script is very good, but on this video we are just going to copy the coordinates. So how do we do it? Remember we told you about this command P line, that you can get this command on AutoCAD as well. So we are going to skip copying this command. We are just going to copy our data, which is the coordinates. So you highlight it and you do what? You say Ctrl C. So we have just 4 points here. yours might be 20, 10, maybe 4, maybe 6, whatever the number is. You highlight and you do what you copy, which is what Control C, or you right click and you do what you copy, right? Good. So you minimize this and you come to this particular part of AutoCAD, which is where you have your tools, right? Good. So you now select what this particular line called polyline. That P underscore line you saw the other time is polyline. It's actually what? A command. You can see underscore P line, sorry, underscore what? P line, that's polyline. Now it's asking us to specify start point, but we don't have the start point, we have start points, right? Good. So we just come to this particular tab, we right click and we do what? We paste. Upon pasting, the points have been plotted, so but we can't see them on the screen now, so you escape. I hope I'm not too fast. I am just trying to get it on as easy as we can, so please you just have to follow. So you do what? You escape, then you say zoom extent, that is what? Z, enter. You can use your space tab, E, enter. Are we together? Good. So when you've done that, you are supposed to get your point. Now the essence, or maybe the reason why you did not get it directly on your screen was because of that what do you call it, was because of that orientation we have on the screen. What do we mean by that? Let's remove that orientation now and then let's show you something very interesting with that. Okay, where is that orientation? Okay, the orientation is here, right? So I will just cut it, Control X, right? Good, it has gone. So Z, enter, E, enter, right? You now see that you just have that particular that particular shape on your screen. Are we together? So if you don't have any point or any line, if you don't have anything on your screen before you do it, you won't have any issues with that. But when you have something somewhere else, it's just like it's now taking it to the actual position, and that is also on somewhere else, like it's in different position. Therefore, it's zooming everything towards to the screen. Are we together? So having said that, we still need that particular data that orientation we copied. So I still need to paste it somewhere here. Good. So we now have our what? We now have our shape. So this is the first thing we are going to do. Now you are actually coming up gradually. This is not the end. We still have so many things to do. So the next thing we want to do now is that we want to get our frame. When you have a survey plan, you don't just have the shape. You have the shape inside a rectangular box, right? Good. So now before ever we get the rectangular box, there are different approaches to it. It is either you determine the scale, and from the scale you determine the dimension, or you just randomly pick your rectangular tool here. Good. You just select it and you draw a rectangle over your polygon. There are different ways of achieving the same result. Are we together? So you can decide to start getting the dimension of your boundary or the borderline or whatever the case is, or you can just pick that rectangular tool and maybe over it round your point and you just have a frame. You are good to go. So you can still escape this zoom extent. The essence of doing this zoom extent, or the essence of trying to get it on your screen so that you can see how fitted it is on the screen, right? Good. So I feel maybe you can also see that it's not too bad. That okay, this is our borderline. So we can do what? We can still offset it. Remember, you still need it a bit thicker. It's either you increase the thickness of the line or you offset it, right? So now let's offset it. So there is this tool we call this is the offset tool. We call it offset. This is the offset tool now. So what do? You click on the offset tool, then you select the line. We have you click on the offset tool, then they say specify offset distance. So let's say we are trying to offset it for 10 meters, right? You say enter, then you pick the line you want to offset, then you take it to the direction you are offsetting it on. Are we together? It's very simple. The first thing is what? You come to the offset tool, which is this, right? When you select the offset tool, you will see a command. They said what? Specify offset distance. So if the offset distance you want to specify, let's make this one 20 now so that we can see it. So you just say enter. When you say enter, you now go and pick the line you want to offset. Our case is a polygon, right? So you pick the polygon and then you now take it to the direction you want to offset it. If it's outside, you take it outside. If it's inside, you take it inside. Or we are offsetting it outside, so we take it outside. And you now see that we have what? We have two offsets. First with 10 and the other with 20. We don't need that of the 20, we just need that of the 10. Are we together? Good. So you can see that we are gradually getting to what we need. Now the next thing is what? We still need to get a line that tries to separate the plan from every other part of the work. So we just pick our line tool, then we come down to this point, and then we just put the demarcation here. Good. You will get to appreciate that very soon, right? Good. Now the next thing we want to do is that we want to put the title. So we are going to give the title. For you to type text, there is this tool we call what? The multi-text. So you select on the multi-text, and then you just highlight, maybe select giving space, and then you paste it there. Are we together? So when it's up, good. When it's up, which it is up now, the text formatting, you are going to just do a few formats or a few modifications there. The font type, let's use Times New Roman. Then let's say the text height, let's say 1.5, right? Good. And then let's bold in it. So upon doing that, we can now start typing. So we can now say, okay, let's change this to uppercase. Plan showing landed property of surveying solutions at let's give it any address. Let's say my 3 you let's call this Port Harcourt. Then let's say Rivers State, and by extension let's just make Nigeria out of it, right? Good. So now this the text here is not what you might have everywhere. In some places you can have it as what? Plan showing landed property said to belong to. So whatever the case is, you can just modify your text to that. But the most important thing is that you have seen how you can come about it, right? Good. So we are going to center everything. We come to center. Then what's this again? Middle, right? Good. So we try to make everything central, and we say what? We say okay. Now we have our text somewhere. Since we can't see it, we can just what? Zoom extend. Good. Now the location of the text is not where we need it. So we just do what? We select it and we move. We do what? We move. Now you can see so many shortcuts. To move, you just click on M, enter, right? Then you just drag it down to the location you want it. So let's say we want it somewhere around there. Good. So it's here now. So you can now see that the text is very, very small. What do we do about it? We can still do what? Edit it. Just click on it and select Ctrl A. Then we change the text height from 1.5. We can change it to 4, and let's see how that goes. It will be quite big now, or will it still be big enough? No, it's not still big enough. So we can still change it to. Now the essence, the reason, or let's say why we are having this issue is because of the scale of the plan. You know, maybe if you're working on maybe just one plot, I don't know the dimension of this, the area of this plot. We are going to check that very soon, right? Good. I don't know the area yet, but let's say depending on the area, the extent covered, that will determine the scale, right? Good. So if you're working on a smaller area, you can find out that, or maybe you realize that the 1.5 is okay, but I think our scale is very big. That's why our 1.5 is getting smaller. So let's just take that risk and make it 10. Let's see how big that will be now. Good. 10 is big enough, right? Good. Let's say zoom extent. Good. I think 10 is big enough. So let's bring it down a bit. Good. Okay, let's put off some of these things if you want to disturb us. Then let's bring this down to this point, right? Good. So you have the liberty to make it as beautiful as you want. You are at liberty to do that. You know, we are just showing you how you go about it, right? Good. So you have gradually started seeing that you are getting something very close to what a survey plan. So we have plan showing landed property of surveying solutions at mile 3 Diob, Port Harcourt, Rivers State, Nigeria. Now the next thing is what? it's not over yet. We still need to add more text, and the next text we need to add here is what our area, right? So we say area, and then we put something like this. Then we still say what origin, right? And then we still do something like this, and we still say what scale. Now you can have your scale in different formats. You know, we have our scale in representative fraction, we have our scale graphically, and then we also have our scale in I call it, I think we have three. We have the graph, we have the number, and then we have the text or so. That's, I can't recall the actual nomenclature of the last one. So you can actually represent your scale differently. So if you don't want to draw the graph, you can actually give it the representative fraction, or you can write it as a text. Now the color area have conventional color. The color for area is what is red. So we come under the color, which you can see at the color ramp, and then we choose red. When we want to type the area, we also make it red. And that of our origin is blue, right? So you select the origin and then change it what? You change it to blue, right? Good. So it's okay. Like this, we are getting there gradually. We are trying to be emphatic that you might not really follow all of these text we have here, but one thing is that you've seen how to go about it when you want to do it for yourself, or when you want to do it for your boss, or whoever you're doing it for, right? Good. So we can still reduce this our text, because since we're adding more, we can see that it's getting bigger. So let's make this 8.5 instead, and let's see how that goes. Good. Let's make it 8.5. Let's move it up a bit, you know. Now let's know what our area is. Now you can get your area using different methods on AutoCAD, right? Good. Now we are going to show you one of the methods, or we are going to show you different methods. Now let's say you want to get your area, you can type area as a command, hit enter, right? Then okay, let's put on our host now so that we can be seeing our edges. You select this edge, you select the next edge, this other edge, this other edge, and let's say you close back where you started and you hit enter. Your area will be displayed on your screen. You can see the area, right? Good. So let's just copy the area. This is the area. Are we together? Let's copy it from the area so that we can have a description for it. So we have Control C, right? Let's paste it on our notepad where we have our other information. That's one method you can get your area. And then you can also get your area using this other method. You select the boundary and then you click on list, or maybe you type list. The shortcut for list is what? LI, right? That's the shortcut for list. You hit enter. Now it will give you what? Some other information. The coordinates, the area, the length, that's the perimeter. And you can now see that this area is still the same thing as the area we copied the other time. So let's still copy this, Ctrl C, and then let's still paste it on the notepad to see if we can see any difference. No, there is no difference. So this is actually what the area, right? So we're having like 32,398 square meters, which is actually very big. That's why those our text heights are giving us issues. So you can just copy it directly from here, Ctrl C. Then you go back to what? Your title. You edit your title by double clicking. Then you come under where you have area, and then you do what? You paste, Ctrl V, right? So you change the color as well to red. Are we together? Okay, first off, let's see our what? Our square meter. So we have SQ arrow square meters, right? Let's still put the square meters or whatever the case is. So we have it as this. Now our area most times is rounded up towards 2 decimal places, so we can have this as 10, right? Good. These are just basic mathematics. So let's still change everything we have here to red. Good. So this is our area. This is our area in square meters. So you know, this is when you want to convert it to hectares, I think you divide it by 1000. So if you divide this 32,398, we can have maybe something like 3.2 or so, right? Good. So this is another method you get your area, and then this is how you type it in there, right? Our origin is I think UTM. We have so 32, right? So we need to change everything to view as well. Change everything to view. Oops, to try to escape. Change that to view too. Good. So we are getting something okay. We are getting there gradually. So we have plan showing landed property of solving solutions at my 3DO Port Harcourt, Rivers State, Nigeria. Wow, we have quite a large, very large number, yeah, large plot of land, right? Good. So we have this, and then the origin is zone 32. Now the scale, we are going to get the scale very soon. So now the next thing we want to look at is what this origin we have here. Now the essence of keeping this origin here is that it will take us longer time to get it. We have a gift for you, yeah. Towards the end of the video, you are going to get your gift. You just need to stick around. So we don't want to take time to try to design this again. So we just had to copy it and paste it here. That's why we had the issue at the beginning that when we try to zoom extend our plot, we are having it very far. So you can see that if it's not there, you will not have that problem. So now we want to move this our origin to where it's supposed to be. So the next thing we are going to do now is that we want to use this point as our origin. This point here, we want to use this point as our origin. So what we want to do now is that we are going to shift our text, the title. We are going to shift this title towards our right so that the origin can be fitted there, right? So the only thing you just click on it, M, which is the shortcut for move, and then you just move it. Let's put up this post-tab. You just move it towards your right to, let's say, this point. Good. Don't worry, you are going to see that very soon, how beautiful it will be. So now the next thing is what you come to your construction line. The construction line will give us quite a long line. Let's come back to our OSNAP. Now the OSNAP helps us to identify those edges. Then let's also put on auto so that we have our points perpendicular without having issue with the perpendicularity. Good. So we have our two lines, right? Now these lines will help us in achieving a particular aim which you are going to see very, very soon. So let's now move this our origin. You select everything and do what you move. So we are moving it from the top. Let's put off our auto because we don't want it to be moving in the diagram perpendicularly. So let's move it up to this point. This point. Good. It's there now, right? Good. Now, if you look at it critically, you would find out that it's very small. So what do we do about it? We can decide to change the scale. We can decide to change the scale. So let's just delete this line first. We can decide to change the scale. So you do what? You select it. If you want to blow any object up or you want to reduce it, this is how you go about it. You select it and use the shortcut SC, which is what? Scale. You hit enter. Then you now select that point or maybe that object you want to increase, and you just allow it to increase, or you put a scale factor, or you impute what? A scale factor. The scale factor most times is when you've actually calculated it, when you know what you want to achieve. So let's say if we use 1.5 as our scale factor, let's see, it has increased a bit, but that 1.5 is not something we need. So we still need to do what? We still need to add more to it. So for us not to be going back and forth, we can just be seeing it increase live, and when it has gotten to the size we need, we go about it. We just continue with whatever we want to do. But remember that there's what we call scale factor. The scale factor is the factor with which you want to increase or decrease that object in your scale, right? Good. So if you don't know it, you can just keep holding, maybe you magnify it or you reduce it to the size you want, and then you just click on enter. So either of the two can work effectively. Good. So we can now see that our origin is the side is okay now. So let's now bring back our construction line on that same point. Let's see how that goes, because we need it. Good. So our construction line is there, and you can see that it's passing through the origin. So now the reason why we have the construction line there is that we want the construction line to pass through this you want the construction line to pass through the origin, and that construction line should also pass through this first point, right? Same thing as this other line. So we want to have this intersection. Are we together? We want to have this intersection, and upon having this intersection, we are going to now use this intersection to give the coordinates of this first point. So that's what we want to achieve with that. So we can give the eastern coordinates and what the northern coordinates and what the eastern coordinates, or let's say the eastern coordinates and the northern coordinates, as the case may be, right? Good. So that's the next thing we want to do. So we have achieved this. The next thing down is that we need to cut off some of these lines, and for us to cut off some of these lines, let's put up this auto. We need to just let's say we just put some points here, and then we also put a line here. We put a line here. Your tab, or yeah, your tab can help you get your last command, right? Good. So now the next thing is what we need to trim. To some extent, we need to trim off all of these redundant lines. So trim is somewhere around there. I think this is trim, right? Good. So you click on trim, enter, and then you get that off. You get that off. You click on trim, you say what, enter, and then you get those lines you don't need off, right? Good. So we have those extra lines off. Now the next thing we need is that we need another line here. Okay, we need to get another line here because this is where we are going to have our text. So let's bring a single line. Let's keep it somewhere here. Enter. Then okay. Then our trim again. You can use the shortcut T arrow. Enter. Then let's cut off this side, and then let's also cut off this side. So we now have something like this for our one of the coordinates, right? Good. Then I think we don't need this side as well, and we might not as well need this side, so we are good to go with that as well. Then we need one of these, so let's leave that for now. Then we cut off this side. So you are going to see the beauty as we progress. So we need to get this off. We need to get we need to get this off as well, and we also need to get this off. Delete them, right? Good. Now we need one other line here. So let's see how that goes. We get this, right? Then CR, which is trim, right? Then you hit the enter again and you trim that off. Then let's say you trim this off as well, and then you trim this off too. So we now have to delete this line. We need to delete this line. There's another line we need to delete here, and then we delete this line as well, and then we also delete this line. So we've actually deleted most of those redundant lines. Good. Now we have deleted as many lines as we should. Let's still trim this part up. Let's say this. Good. So we've trimmed that part off, and we are good to go. So I hope you are following the process. It can be long, it can be different from how you used to do it, but you know it's actually worth your time because you are seeing how to do it. Good. So we have that. Now the next thing is what we want to give these our points. We want to give it a point style. Now for you to get your point style, you come to what? You come to format, and then you go to what? You go to point style. Now under point style, instead of set relative to screen, you go to what? Set size in absolute unit, and then let's say we are using this particular style which looks like a beacon, right? Which looks like a beacon. Okay, let's use this one that has a point in it as well. So let's use this, and then we say okay, right? So specify the point style. We now come to point. We just select point, right? And then we start selecting each of those points to see how they would appear on the screen, right? Now we can see relatively that they are quite small. They are quite small, so we can still go back to our format and then go towards to point style, and we can increase this our units to, let's say, let's increase it to 7, and let's see how it will affect our points. Still fair. Let's come back there again. Let's make it 10. How did I come back here immediately? I hit the tab. When I hit the tab, it takes me to the last command. That's how the tab works, right? So let's put 10 here and see. Okay, it's still fair now. It's fair now. Good. So we now have our what? We now have our beacon, like those beacon you are going to place on the ground. So now the next thing now is that we are going to ID this our origin, because we are using this as our origin, right? So we are going to ID this our origin, and then upon IDing this our origin, we are going to get the coordinates of what? The origin. Are we together? We are going to get the coordinates of the origin. So how do we do it? The shortcut for ID is what? Just click on ID and you say enter. Then you now select the point whose ID you need. So this is the point whose ID we need. Just click on it, and we now see the coordinates of that point being displayed, right? So you can now see ID specify point. This is the X, and our X is our easting, and then this is the Y, and our Y is what? Our northern. Are we together? These things are very, very simple. We are trying our best to make it as as easy and as explicit as possible. You get it, right? Good. So by default, this should be our northern, and then this should be our easting. So our nodding is this, so we can just copy this, which is what our nodding, Control C. Then we come to our text, right? Then we just say we paste it there. We select the text. What we need is what Time New Roman. So we do that. And then what the text size we are using? We used 8.5. So let's see how that 8.5 goes. And let's paste what we already have before. Let's paste what we already have before. Let's say okay, so that where are you to extend? Good, this is it. So we have what this point. So we can move it to where we want it. We can move it to this point. We can move it to this point, and then we rotate. So if you want to rotate, you do what? You just do arrow, and then you do what? You rotate, right? Good, you rotate. Let's put on this our snap so that we can be rotating perpendicularly. Good. Then we do what? We move it. We move it to the point we need. Let's put it off now. So you see, there are so many tools you can be using at once while you're working, depending on how easy you can be using them. So this is our meter. Let's call this nothing, right? Good. We say okay. So we have our meter noted. So it's quite big. Let's reduce the size to, instead of it to be on 8.5, let's make it 7.5, right? And let's see how that 7.5 goes. Yeah, 7.5 is still big. Let's then make it 7. So the aesthetic depends on you. The aesthetic, it depends on you, how you want to. Yeah, so our 7 is okay. So that's okay by me, and I feel it's okay. Now the next thing is what, since we can't maybe scroll up to get where this thing is, we can still ID that same point, and then we come to the point and we select it, and we do what, we get our thing, which is this, right? So we copy it, Control C. Then how do we get to type the text again? Do we have to type it one after the other? No, you can just copy this, and if we copy it, we are going to move it. So we are going to use the command copy selection, right? So the copy selection is what, CO enter. When you hit CO enter, you select the object you want to copy, and then you move it to your destination. When you move it to your destination, you still have the opportunity to paste it at different points. But remember, we don't need it at multiple points. We just need it there for now. So that copy selection helps you to copy more than once, right? Good. So we have copied it, and we don't need it in this orientation. So we do what? We rotate it, right? So we just click on arrow or rotate. So for us to be able to easily rotate it, let's on our auto again. So with our auto, we can rotate it at 90 degrees, which will now be in conformity with what we need. And we still need to put up the auto so that we can easily move it up to the location we want it. So let's put it somewhere there. Good. So we are getting there gradually. Sorry, we have our what? Let's now edit this and replace it with our Control V. Good. Replace it with our what? Our listing. So this will be edited to what? Meter listing, right? Good. So I think we can reduce the size of this line to this point. Good. So we are getting there gradually, right? We are getting there gradually. Good. So we have our what? We have our first point. The next thing now we want to do is what? We want to get our the dimension. But before we get the dimension, let's just do something very fast. Let's get a line somewhere around here. Let's get a line somewhere around here. What do I do? Okay, let's get a line somewhere around here. We need like two lines. We want to separate it into, these lines are not equal, or you can make yours equal. I think I can still move this a bit backwards. Right? Let's see. Then move this a bit backwards as well. Let's see how that goes. Let's see. Okay, they are still not equal, but they are fair, right? Good. So you can maybe make yours as equal as you want. Let's trim this off. Let's trim this off. Good. So trim that off. Now, the essence of having this space is that we are going to put maybe the name of the surveyor, the stamp. Okay, let's still copy selection, which is CO. Maybe let's paste this here, let's paste this here, let's paste this here, so that we can edit them later. You understand? That's the essence of using the copy selection, so that you can paste it in multiple places, right? Good. So that's the CO. So we've pasted it there. So now we can just maybe edit this to be the, let's say, whatever you want to put here. I don't know, it's not constant. So any other information you need here, let's just leave that information, right? Any other information you need here, you can actually keep it there. So let's make this 10 big enough. Then okay, let's change our orientation um, to this. Good. And then move it up to this. Sorry, oh snap, you need to be careful. We move it up to this point. Good. Then this will be for your stamp, right? Let's call this stamp. So maybe the surveyor will put his seal or his stamp or whatever the case is, something like that. Then let's still change it to 10, right? Good. Then we say okay, and then we can still rotate it to 90 or whatever the case is, and then we move it there. And this can maybe hold the address of the surveyor, or as the case may be. So let's still call this address. Now the reason why we are not making this fixed is because we understand that different locations have different ways of let's say achieving the same, or maybe the information they have on their survey plan. So but we feel or we believe that it cannot completely be different from some of these things we have explained to you. So we have something like this. So this is the surveyor seal or the stamp. This is the address. Then this is any other information you want to add. Now let's come back to this. We need the dimension of each of the lines, right? We are almost getting to the end. So let's bring in this properties. The properties is very important, because the properties is going to help us get what the length and the bearing of each of those lines. So what do? We exclude. So it's actually a polygon. When it's a polygon, you can't have the dimension of each of the lines. You can only have it as a whole, right? You can only have it as a whole. So when you come to properties, you see the area, you see the perimeter of the whole line, not of a single line. So the first thing you do what is you exclude, which is this. So when you exclude it, it's now like what, a single line. So you now have the information of what, that single line. You have the length, and you also have what, you also have the bearing, right? Good. So now the next thing we want to do now is that we are going to type the what, the length and what, the bearing, right? So what do? We come down to our the text editor, which is this, or we can just decide to do what, we can just decide to still copy select what we already have, and then we paste it somewhere, and then we start editing it, right? So let's just do that. So let's just do that. And then what's the length? Okay, the length is I think I need to write it out somewhere so that I can remember. The length is just a few minutes. The length is 208. We have a length of what, 208.959, and then we have a bearing of 281 degrees 21 minutes 26 seconds. So that's the length of that line. So let's now come back to our text editor. So we have what, when you are trying to put in the information on your survey plan, your bearing comes at top and your distance goes down. So let's say our bearing is what, 281, and your bearing is rounded up to the nearest minute. So how do you get your degrees? You get your degrees either as it's a special key. So you get your degrees by shift percentage and D. So what do we mean? You click on shift, then you hit the percentage tab twice, and then you type D, and then you see what, your degrees is out. Are we together? So that's a shortcut. Let's go over it again. You click on shift, percentage, and what, and D. You see your degrees is out, right? Then you just give tab, then as many tab as you want. Then you have what, the bearing of 21 minutes. Since our seconds is not up to 30, so our minutes will not be rounded up. So we now come down, and then we still come, maybe give a tab, Then what's our distance? Our distance is what? We round our distance to the to 2 decimal place, right? So we have 208 point. This should be 96, right? Then we have what? The unit in meters, right? Good. So we center and then center all of them. I think we still need to move this. Okay, Control A. Then let's see how it goes. Good. So we now say okay. Now we need to move this to this particular what? To this particular location, which is here. Now there are different ways. I would have said let's start rotating it manually, but since we already know the bearing, what we are going to do now is that we are going to change the bearing of this text so that it will now fall perfectly here. So how do we do that? You select the text and you come under properties, and under properties you see what? You see the rotation. So what do we do with the rotation? We now put in the bearing. So we are having what? 281, right? So we have 281 degrees and then we have 21 minutes, and we say what? We say enter. Oh, now it is taking it the other way around, which means we are going to subtract what? We are going to subtract 180 from it for us to be able to arrive at this. So we have 281 minus 180 to be what? To be 101. So now let's see what 101 will give to us. Good. So we just click on that. We come to what? 101 degrees, and then we say what? 21 minutes. So let's see how that goes. Good, it's now fair, right? Good. So all of these are just how fast you can be able to appreciate the information that is being displayed on your screen. So we are still trying to move it. Good. So we can now edit this and then move our distance to the center a bit. Are we together? So you see now we have typed our what? We have typed our dimension very easily. Now before we leave, we need to change the color of our what? Our boundary line to red, because that's the default color. We change it to what? We change it to red. Are we together? So we have done that. So you now see that our plan, or maybe the survey plan, is actually formed. Let's still move this a bit to the center, because we shifted it far away from the center because of our origin, or the north arrow. So now the text on the north arrow differs. We have north here, true north, so you can decide to change it to maybe universal north or whatever the case is, or true north, depending on what your origin is. So let's make this UN for this particular video. So you now see that these things are very simple, very simple. Anywhere you have issue, you can just pause, rewind, you get it, and then you come back. Now this is how you type your text. This is how you get your frame. So maybe the address of the surveyor will be here, the stamp and the seal will be there. Any other information will be as you want to, maybe as you wish. You can still put them there. Then you have your north arrow here, you have your title, you have your plot, and then maybe if you also want to draw your scale, now drawing of scale, actually the graphical scale comes with different conditions, but we are not going to go in details, or we are not going to go in depth in that. So for the purpose of this video, let's just do something very interesting. Let's pick a line, and let's pick the line tool. Let's still use this. I want it like this. So let's say let's just call this 40. Let's call this 40 towards this end. It's quite small, right? It's quite small. Then let's go up. Let's call it 2. No, instead of 40, let's make it instead of 40, let's make it 120. Let's make it 120. Then we go up. We make this 6. Then we still come this direction. We still make it 120. And then for us to close, we either come down and close, or we just type C and we say enter. So we have what? We have this our polygon, or yeah, it's a polygon, right? We have this our polygon, which we will use for our scale very soon. So now we have 120 as the length of this line, right? 120, and then we have this line, the length of this line to be what? To be 6. Good. So now we want to move this up 3 meters, just to have it at the middle. So remember how we did offset? we are going to offset it, right? So we are offsetting it towards let's say 3 meters, right? Enter. Then we select the line we want to offset, and then we are not taking it out. Let's repeat it again. We come back to what? To offset. We are offsetting it by 3 meters, right? Then we pick the line and then we take it in. Good. So we have offsetted it, or we have done the offset here at the middle. Then we want to also move this. We have 120 as the length, so we want to split it into 3, so that will be 40 40, right? So we still come back to our offset. Then this case we are having 40, right? So we say enter, right? Then we now come to the beginning, then we come this direction, and then we come towards this direction again, we come towards this direction again. Are we together? Good. So we have our sorry, it wasn't there. Okay, so let's do it again. Offset, which is this, right? We have 40, enter, then we pick it from here, and then we go 40 this direction. Good. So we have the scale, yeah, right? The graphical scale. From the beginning, we said we are not really trying to make it as maybe we are not just concerned with it, but we just want to maybe show you how you can get what your scale. Let's just say that we just want to show you how you can get your scale. So maybe when you want to get your scale and you have your dimensions right, this is the procedure, this is the process you would use. So now let's see if it is okay with the size of good. It's fair enough. It's fair enough. So now let's now try to hash it. So for us to hash it, we come to what we call the hash. Where is it with this hash, right? So we select the hash, and we need a solid hash. We need a solid hash. So we come under the pattern. This is pattern, right? We come under the pattern and we select solid, right? Then they say pick point something. So we pick alternatively, right? We pick alternatively and we hit enter. We hit enter. Let's now preview what we have. Good. So it's fair enough. It's fair enough. We hit enter and it's there now. Z enter, E enter. So when you have your scale like this, your graphical scale, you can now put your is it the units or something. You can now put your unit there as the case may be. So if it's closer to the top, you just move it down a bit, and then you have your, let's put on our whole snap, and then you are good to go. Let's take it down a bit. This, yeah, so we have something like this. Isn't this beautiful? Haven't we performed magic? Haven't we created something phenomenal? You can see that this is how you go about what getting your survey plan. Are we together? So from this stage, you are good to go. And if you want to confirm the scale of your plot, you just do what Control P that you want to print, right? Good, you want to print. So let's say the page setup we have a previous plot, and then let's say if A4 will not be too small. If you already know the paper size you want to use, we need it in what? In portrait, not landscape. When you already know the paper size you want to use, which is A4, you now see we don't need it on fit to paper. We are going to use our what? We are going to use our scale. But with this now, you have an approximate knowledge of what the scale is, or maybe approximate idea of what the scale is. We are having it as what? 1 in 3.9, which is like 1 in 3.5, or let's say 3,500, or let's say 1 in 3,000 as the case may be. So now let's window it. Now what to plot? Let's window it so that we can specify the area we want to plot. So we click on window, and then we now select this our whole boundary, right? Good. You now see the scale has reduced a bit. So 1 in 3,000 is fair enough. Now let's preview it. If we have all our plans, good, fair. You can see now it's awesome. So with this, you can just save it and send it to anybody that can help you to print. But that's not what we want to do now. So we are taking our scale to be 1 in what? 3,000 approximately, right? Good. So we can say our scale here is 1 in 3,000. You know, the plot is quite big. The plot is quite big. So we have 1 in what? 3,000, or whatever the case is, depending on what you have with you, right? So remember we told you that we have a gift for you, right? We have a gift for you. Now, this is a very good model. This is a very good format you can use to start if you don't know how to go about it. Or if you already know how to go about it and then you see one or two things here that you want to get, we can actually give this thing out to you at a token. Maybe you can get it for $1 or maybe $2 or as the case may be, just to support the channel. So we are going to have a link to maybe to Seller or whatever platform we can use, and then you just go there, you assist us, you support us, you encourage us by downloading it, or let's say by buying it, for $1 or maybe $2 the case may be, and it will go a long way in supporting the channel, right? So we are going to leave this particular drawing in, let's say, in AutoCAD extension, maybe the XF or the WG, and you are going to access the drawing, download it, and then you just use it to start your process. So I'm not sure if we are missing any other information. We have our title, we have our scale, we have good. So here will be for your legend. So let's call this legend. Good. I think it almost skipped my mind. Let's call this legend. So your legend, you know what your legend means. There is my favorite rapper that says, you stand beside and they make you as an example. I've forgotten the actual lyrics, if you don't mind me. So the legend will be here to help us. Maybe if we have a road, so let's say we have a road somewhere here. Let's say there's an access road somewhere here. Let's bring in our snaps to have something like this. Then let's say we also have it somewhere here. So it's not there. We are just trying to bring it in. And then let's change the line type to no, not here. Let's change the line type to something like this, broken load. Let's use this ISO dash. Let's see how that goes. Okay, let's select this once again and let's see how that goes. Good. So let's say this is the road. So when you want to put in your legend, you need to specify, okay, these broken lines are roads, these red lines are boundary, or maybe if you have other buildings, you specify that the buildings are there. So you also need what? You also need your legend, right? Good. So that's what this other column represents. Then this one represents maybe where your surveyor can maybe place a stamp and sign or a seal or whatever, then the address. So this is not something you are using already, or this is not something that you use. But one thing is that there are elements here, or all of the elements you use are here. So all you need to do is just to tweak it, to twist it here, to modify it to suit your to suit your narrative, or to suit your area, or to suit wherever your location is. So we believe we've provided solutions. It's actually quite a long and exhaustive video. So the gift is still here for you. The gift is here for you. When you want to get it, you just go to the description section of the video, and then you see the link to accessing the AutoCAD file, where you just download it by supporting us, by supporting the channel, maybe $1, $2, by supporting the channel. And you can also maybe get as many as possible, maybe $1, maybe you can just buy like 10 of it, or maybe like 20 of it, just to make it $20 or maybe $10 or whatever the case is. So all of these things are very, very important. You use that to support the channel. So we are very sure we've exhausted all things we need to show you here. We have our graphical scale, we have our representative fraction, we have the title, we have the origin, we have the plot, we have shown you how to do the dimension. You can do that for the others. We've shown you how to bring in your origin. We've also shown you the boundary, or let's say the border, right? And in between, you've also learned so many shortcuts. You've learned so many shortcuts. So we believe we've provided solution to this particular survey problem. Thanks for coming to class. Thanks for watching up till this point. Please, you have to leave a like if you like the video. You comment by giving us, encouraging us that you did well. And if you have any issue, you can also do what you can also leave it on the comment section. We are sure we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Until we see you on our next video, ensure you ensure you stay safe and have a nice time. Bye.